Hello, BookTube. I've got a little bit of mail for you today on a beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Oh my. Oh my. For some reason, my little baby Bean, my little miniature schnauzer, wanted to get up very early this morning. Maybe she just had to go. Sometimes you just have to go. She came up to the top of the bed where I was reading and gently licked my ear. That is our signal that she wants to go outside. So we went very early at dawn. And that was fine. There was no one anywhere around, no traffic, no noise of any kind, no street lights, no pedestrians, nothing that early. We never go out that early. And then we went out again just recently, and it's beautiful outside. The day was temperate yesterday, but oppressively humid, and that humidity has gone away. So now you've got the temperate weather and the bright blue skies and the nice warmth, but you don't have any of that sauna type feeling. And on our walk this morning, we encountered a wonderful dog. He was so timid. He was so gentle, just walking along. He wasn't old, but he was so timid. He wasn't frightful, but everything was. Are you absolutely sure? Are you absolutely sure? So soft-spoken in his body language, just as calm and peaceful as could be. Frida tensed up like she was going to kill him when she first saw him. She does that with everybody. She isn't going to kill you. She isn't going to kill your dog. She isn't going to bite your dog. She just looks like she is. And as they got closer, he was, I'm so happy to meet you, but I don't want to greet you unless it's perfectly okay with you. And she was sniffing him, and she was going from one end to the other, and she was kind of wondering, what's your problem? Because she's not like that at all. And once they had greeted each other, I squatted all the way down onto my haunches and just said, come here to me, boy, come here to me. And he just very gently walked up to me, tucked his head like that, and I was just, oh, you're so good. You're so good. Once in a great while, I've had dogs like that. Beagles don't tend to be that way, so it hasn't been often, but it warmed my heart. Just warmed my heart to see. And Frida, of course, was totally confused at why I was so enthused, why I was so touched. She was, what is his problem? He's not demanding anything. It's kind of funny. Yesterday in the afternoon, we went to the big subway station, which is this big open space, and Frida loves it because when she gives one of her little high-pitched, sustained single-note yodels, it really echoes. It bounces all over the place. It sounds 10 times bigger than it is. And the minute she realized that, she loves it. So the minute we get inside that building, we generally walk in one end and out the other, just so I can walk her through there. And the minute we get inside, she throws back her head and gives a yodel so that she can hear how big and impressive it is. That was lots of fun. Plus, there are always people inside that station. And she loves to meet people. She's indifferent or impatient with other dogs, but humans, oh my god, she loves to meet humans. But we have a little bit of mail today. More is coming. I'm filming these videos very early, but more is coming. The two periodicals that I got have a neat little distinction, which is that I'm personally involved in both of them, and that's always fun. To get your own stuff in the mail is always fun. I don't imagine that happens to many people that are on BookTube, but it's always a lot of fun. Like, for instance, I got the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. This is a broadsheet newspaper from the island of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts. I'm the book reviewer for the Gazette, but I don't have a piece in this issue, but it's always nice to get your own thing, a home that you have. And the other one I am definitely in. This is Smoke Signals, Big Canoe News in northern Georgia. This is a monthly full-color newspaper in the northern Georgia area. So we haven't even broken into Atlanta, so in order to get a physical copy of this, you would either have to subscribe or be in the Big Canoe community area. And I am a part of Big Canoe News for the best possible reason. It's not because of the babies. Oh, it's not because of the babies. I am a part of Big Canoe for the best possible reason. A better reason even than being a book reviewer. Which is that I am Big Canoe News' books editor. Not their arts and living editor. They have an arts and living editor. They also have a dedicated book section. And I run that section, which is tremendous. It's the smallest print newspaper book section anywhere in the country, I'm sure, but it looks really good. Any of you who've ever done me the pleasure, the compliment of getting Big Canoe News in the mail can attest that this looks really, really professional. It doesn't look like small town paper at all, a monthly small town paper. But I have a dedicated book section, and that is amazing. There aren't many of those in the country. And I'm the editor there, so every month you get a column by me. You can make that out. That is my Ex Libris column. I devote a column every month to upcoming new releases for the month in which the paper will appear. These are June releases. Then we have Tricia Donovan, who does Murder, Etc., a murder mystery column. This one is dedicated to cozy mysteries. Tricia is a fan among readers. And there's also reviews. There's a review of that Alison Weir novel about Queen Mary I, and a review of Otter Country. So you get book reviews and columns. It's a really good section every month, though I do say so myself. So if you really want to, you could always go and subscribe to Big Canoe News. It's an absolute delight for me. It is not something that I saw coming at all. Not at all. Once upon a time, those of you who are not familiar with the deep lore of this channel, once upon a time I was a prolific book reviewer and also started to become a book section editor, or not so much a book section editor as an arts entertainment editor, an arts editor in a whole bunch of places, or assistant arts editor in a whole bunch of places. And then I stopped both of those things and left that whole world, left the world of dinosaur print newspapers that I loved so much. I left that world and became a bookseller in a bookstore. Why I thought I couldn't do both, I don't know. But I decided all or nothing, became a bookseller for a long time. And when I was gravimetrically pulled back into book reviewing, a lot of old friends of mine, some of whom were actually still in the business after all that time, said to me, well, there's almost no chance you're going to be able to break back into book reviewing in any major venue, because nobody does that. That once you're gone, you're gone. And that prediction turned out not to be true. Without using any old contacts, most of my old contacts were dead, I managed to do just fine breaking into the print newspaper world. But the other part of it, not only did all of my friends and acquaintances say, well, you're never going to get back into being a book section editor or an arts and living section editor. No way. As all of them put it, those jobs don't just grow on trees. It's virtually impossible. But you're certainly not going to get back into that world. That's not going to happen. And there I sort of kind of agreed. I sort of kind of thought that won't happen. And then it did. And amazingly, I am now a print newspaper book section editor in what anyone could call the evening of my life. That is amazing to me. It's a source of joy. And I try to make my book section. These are actually two different models of how you do this. Right? On the one hand, you have Smoke Signals. On the other hand, you have the Vineyard Gazette. Both are local newspapers. The Vineyard Gazette, the books editor there, he has a vision for what he wants his coverage to be, and that is local, only local. So either your book has to be about the vineyard, or you have to live on the vineyard and write a book about something else. Otherwise, no. A perfectly legitimate choice that local newspapers used to make all the time. Local newspapers always used to have to deal with this. This is the choice you have to make. Do you give local coverage for your readers, or do you do bigger coverage than that, trusting that your readers will be interested in it? They'll be interested in something more than just what's happening 2 blocks away. I decided, it was always my philosophy, every time I've had a job like this, it's always been my philosophy that I will do the latter, or the former rather, that I will make a general interest, full purpose section, counting on my rock-solid, lifelong belief that there's no such thing as a local reader. No reader reads locally. I don't believe that for a minute. No reader says, well, I'm interested in thrillers, but only if they're written by people in Paducah. No. No, that's not how readers work. That's the whole antithesis, the whole nature of reading. So when I run a section, I run new release reviews. Columns are different. I mean, Trisha can write about whatever she wants, and in my column, Ex Libris, I could write about whatever I want. I don't. I write about new releases, but it's a column. You get more leeway in columns. But the book reviews, they are not from Georgia authors. They are not about Georgia books. There is a section here. Am I going to be able to grab it right away? Maybe not. There is a section. Oh, yeah. We have a new books corner for local authors. But it's clearly designated as such. It's separate from the rest of the section. The rest of the section is just books. The section is a little bit smaller, where a local newspaper, you're always fighting for space and in a desperate search for more ad revenue. So your subscription goes a long way. But that was my decision. So you've got a microcosm of what choices you have to make here. Any editor has to do that. Once upon a time, when small-town newspapers in America were everywhere, when every small town had at least 2 newspapers, and I mean very small. I mean, a tiny Ankeny, Iowa, had 2 local newspapers. That world is all but gone. But once upon a time, it was there, and if you were the editor of a little newspaper like that, the arts editor of a little newspaper like that, I happen to know this from firsthand experience, you would just put on your best game face and write a letter to Random House over in New York saying, I'm the editor of this paper, the Ankeny Herald, and I want a review copy of this book. Please send it to this address. And you would just count on them doing it. Whether they did or not was an open question, but you would count on them doing it, even though if they got on the phone and started calling around, this is all pre-internet, they would find out that your paper had a circulation of 200 people. And that maybe it wasn't worth the while. Not only that your paper had a circulation of 200 people, but that it was 150 miles to the nearest bookstore. So a review in your Ankeny paper was not going to sell a single copy of your book, and therefore it's probably not worth your while to send a copy. Of course, that mathematics, that has changed completely now. I bet that I bet that some of the small newspapers that I worked on in Iowa, I bet a million years ago, I bet their circulation wasn't any smaller than the circulation of Big Canoe News. I bet that's true. But we now live in the age of the internet, where if one of my reviewers praises a book in the pages of Big Canoe News, or I do, it can easily generate lots of sales for that book, depending on the traffic of the eyeballs on the site. It can easily generate lots of traffic, lots of sales for that book, because anyone can find it and buy the book anywhere. They don't need to drive 150 miles to the nearest bookstore. So I like to serve my readership that way, not a local thing. But always great to get those in either case. It's great to get mail anyway, if you're a lonely old shut-in, but it's great to get mail that you're involved in. That's always a thrill. But let's look at the mail. We have 2 packages here. Shouldn't take forever to do. And this might not wrap up the day or the week either, because it's early. So I might get more mail. So what is this now? Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Okay, this is a Penguin Classic. This is a new Penguin Classic. Fantastic. Okay, this is a new Penguin Classic. This is The Knockout Artist by Harry Crews. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it out. It's got a foreword by S.A. Cosby, who's a really good, slightly non-classifiable writer. The foreword's going to be as interesting to read as the book. I haven't read the book in forever. When did this book come out? Oh my God, I don't even know. 1988. So it's been that long. It's been 40 years. Let's see here. Eugene Talmadge Biggs is a young boxer from rural Georgia whose champion rise is diverted by a vulnerability or talent for knocking himself unconscious. As he begins to exploit his talent publicly, the notorious knockout artist journeys a hero's descent into the New Orleans underworld, where regulars have long since checked their morals at the door. The unforgettable climax shows Crews at his virtuoso best, when Eugene confronts his truth and sets out to claim his freedom from a role he can no longer play and win his own self-respect. And S.A. Cosby in the foreword, among other things, writes, quote, Harry Crews wrote about the South with uncompromising honesty, hard-won insightfulness, and a strange, brutal tenderness. If Faulkner is Mozart and O'Connor is Ralph Stanley, then Harry Crews could be likened to Johnny Cash. Okay, all right. All right. Faulkner is not Mozart, and the word you want is insight, not insightfulness. But okay, okay. So this is a little snapshot. This is indicative of what Penguin Classics has been doing for the last few years. A book from 1988 under no circumstances whatsoever should be a Penguin Classic. I don't care who it is. This, if I remember correctly, this is a very good book, but under no circumstances whatsoever should a 1988 book be a Penguin Classic. But they have been very adventurous in their editorial choices, in adding books to the lineup of Penguin Classics. I don't always agree. In fact, as time goes on, I agree less and less. The Penguin Classic line right now does not include more than, I would say, 10 novels by Anthony Trollope. It doesn't include 20 of them. The Penguin Classic line does not include The Return of Tarzan, The Son of Tarzan. It does not include a whole bunch of Greek and Roman classics that are just not in the Penguin Classic line. There are a bunch of things that should... I know this is not a contest and it's not first come first serve, but there are a bunch of things that should be wearing this colophon before this book. I know that there are a whole bunch of variables that go into that. The copyright, what's available, what's for sale, a lot of variables like that go in. I know that, so and I don't object at all. It's made reading new Penguin Classics a different experience than it was for 70 years. For 70 years, the new Penguin Classic would intrigue you because you wanted to see what A.S. Byatt had to say about something you'd read 20 times. And that's no longer true. Now, when you're looking ahead and you're thinking, what are 2025's Penguin Classics going to be, you don't have any idea. Now, part of me rebels against that because a classic has a meaning. The word classic has a meaning. But another part of me is thrilled by that because you don't know what you're going to get. And, that's exciting. That's interesting. Fantastic. So we have a new Penguin Classic. I don't have the date on this, but I imagine it's out already. I got no information on it whatsoever. But then let's do the other package here. Boy, I'm awful chatty today, aren't I? Well, you knew that when you married me. So we'll do this next one, and then we'll be done. With the mail for this morning here. Oh, no. Okay, it's you again. Okay. Well, we've now talked about this book quite a bit. But now I have a finished copy. That's great. Because I will reread this. This is The Singularity is Nearer. I promise. Now, it's just called The Singularity is Nearer by Ray Kurzweil. This is the finished copy from Viking. So this has all of the blurbs on the back. Yuval Noah Harari, of course. Tony Robbins is blurbed. And I'll just read you the dust jacket since I don't have the sheet for it. It also has a blurb by Bill Gates. Let's see here. Since it was first published in 2005, Ray Kurzweil's The Singularity is Near and its vision of an exponential future have spawned a worldwide movement. The author's predictions about technological advancements have largely come true, with concepts like AI, intelligent machines, and biotechnology now widely familiar to the public. Right, the concepts are familiar to the public. Right, that's not a prediction. You didn't predict the concepts would become familiar to the public. You predicted the reality would become familiar to the public. Anyway, in this entirely new book, the author brings a fresh perspective to advances toward the singularity, assessing his 1999 prediction that AI will reach human-level intelligence by 2029 and examining the exponential growth of technology that, in the near future, will expand human intelligence a millionfold and change human life forever. Among the topics he discusses are rebuilding the world atom by atom with devices like nanobots, radical life extension beyond the current age limit of 120 years, reinventing intelligence by connecting our brains to the cloud, how exponential technologies are propelling innovation forward in all industries and improving all aspects of our well-being. Do your aspects of well-being feel improved? Do you think you're more capable Are you more capable of really good relaxation than your grandparents were, or less capable? Uh, Such as declining poverty and violence, and the growth of renewable energy and 3D printing. Okay, all right. He considers the potential perils of biotechnology, nanotechnology, and artificial intelligence, including such topics as current controversy over how AI will impact employment and the safety of autonomous cars. Uh, in afterlife technology, which aims to virtually revive deceased individuals through a combination of their data and DNA. Okay, I have already read this, but I'm going to read it again. I'm going to throw this on the pile. In fact, I'd probably put both of these on the pile for tonight. Uh, Definitely this one, because I haven't read this in forever. Uh, I'll put this on the pile for tonight. I was not impressed at all. I was not, to be fair, I was not impressed by the Singularity is near either. But I wasn't impressed by this at all. It seemed like, well, it's deadly to use this word in connection with somebody like Ray Kurzweil, but a lot of this struck me as woo, which, is his adherents, his dude bro adherents would say he's the exact opposite of woo. We will see. I will give this another try. So that is the mail for today. We have 2 periodicals, both of which I write for, and 2 books, both of which I will write about. So not a bad mail haul, but it's still early. It's still early days. So more mail could come. If it does, I will ignore it. I'll put it on a pile and we'll do it on Sunday. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.